The meeting open. Our person in the gallery advised that under the Local Government Act 1993, a person may not tape record the proceeding of a council meeting or committee without the authority of the council or committee. Tape record includes video camera and electronic device capable of recording speech. Mobile phones must be turned off as not to disrupt the meeting. Anyone, including council, found using a mobile phone will be told to leave the meeting immediately and in relation to said meeting. An audio recording of this meeting will be taken for videotape purposes as required under Government Act 1993. This meeting is live streamed on the council website to allow the community to follow council debates and decisions without the need to attend the meeting in person. Members of the public attending or speaking at a meeting agree to have their image, voice, and personal information, including name and address, recorded and publicly broadcast. Traffic council does not accept liability for any further remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of the meeting. Any kind of meeting that is held in closed session will not be seen. So just be outstanding for the but we pray that our deliberations today will be objective and decisions are impartial, made for the benefit of the whole community. And the recognition of traditional custodians. Let us begin by acknowledging the Wangal people, the traditional custodians of the land of which this meeting is being held. We pay respect to elders past, present, and emerging. So move to open forum. We do have one speaker. Mr. David Stacker. And David's the residents group. David and it's in relation to the PE2 item. So you just make the one at the table, Mr. Stacker, and just announce your name and address, and 5 minutes to have your say.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is David Stacker and I reside at 38 East May Avenue, Cambridge. And I'd like to thank everybody here for giving me this opportunity. And I just need to start quickly to give you a whole roll back of why I'm actually here, because I've been dealing with this and council support since late 2013, and a lot of councillors were not here then. And it all revolved around and started in our little area. Here's May in that little pocket when WestConnex turned up on everybody's door and announced what was coming through. What happened, we had a meeting down in Allen Street with a number of councillors, a few state politicians and also federal politicians, where they told us what was going to happen, and the agenda was brought up that this area will eventually be rezoned and everybody will be okay and don't worry about their houses going. So we went back as a street and a community, and Underwood Road was including that. We held a meeting and we formed a small committee where we decided as a community that we would support WestConnex for the benefit of the whole community, because it benefited the whole of Strathfield and Homebush and the whole of LVA. So in that time, we did have some battles with WestConnex, as I'm sure council will be aware of. But I will say this council stood up for us more than anybody else, and our local state member did too, and we had some fierce battles and we wouldn't go away. But in that time, a lot of people put their lives on hold with the hope that that area would be rezoned, because we are getting boxed in. Now, we go back to 2016 and then we get forward to the LEP in 2021, and I know there's been a hold up in that, which is out of a lot of people's hands here. But I was always told every time I engaged with council, and right back to 2018, where we sent 80% of signatures within our street to council requesting if that area could be rezoned, that we ticked all the boxes down for our area rezoning. For instance, transport. Now Sydney Metro is coming in, and we've got now 3 options. You've got Sydney Metro, you've got North Strathfield, and you've got Homebush. Okay. We are close to all major artillery roads. We have got a number of schools in the area. Like I said before, plenty of green space. We've got new shops going in with a major development of Woolworths going in on the corner of Allen Street and George Street shortly. And we have plenty of medical, and we're also close to a major hospital. With this in mind, and I've seen the new pre-cuts come out, I was just a little bit lost and hoping we could be added to that area where we have engaged as a community, a consultant, and he advised us that he couldn't see any reason why we couldn't be included in that area. And this is why we put all these submissions to the council and just ask the council to support the community once again, because I know that Canada Bay are in the third round of community consultation across the creek of what's going on there. And I just don't want anybody from our area left down there that doesn't have to, and I don't want to be boxed in like the people in Corelli Avenue of it. It's a beautiful little area, but nothing stays the same forever. We're going to get bigger, we're going to grow. There's nothing we can do. So I just hope you can look at our submission, take it under consideration, and maybe help us and help the whole community move forward and grant the community wish as we've asked. If there's any questions, I'll take the answer.
Yeah, just one question, that you mentioned that you made a number of councillors.
Yes.
So I was a councillor between 2012 and 17.
Yep.
I cannot remember.
Down there at that time.
Doesn't mean that you didn't have.
No, but I understand, but I understand, and I can't remember you being there, right, but I remember that, the man over in the corner, Bakari was there was the, state member, and we were right in that changeover period to where, Sir Davey was here, and it got, the whole area got changed. We had Craig, Lawley was there. Were you there, no, in the street? Up in,
May have been as,
Karen was
it
there.
would have been there.
Yeah. Yep.
2000.
I was there as a council,
2013.
not 13.
No, it was end of 13 or early 14.
We were there as unsaved.
It would have been there as.
Nothing, my question was not, my question was that, I think you mentioned that some people, every time you came to the council, some people give you some, like I said, this is this. Is there any evidence that my friends were? That's what I was asking.
We submitted to council in 2018 the signatures and a request for rezoning in that time, and they acknowledged that. Now that all that paperwork should be somewhere in council.
Right.
So, and I have been in contact with various councillors. I've had meetings with various councillors in that time, where they've met with our committee, and just to let them know what the community's feeling is. So that's where we were at that regard. But like I said, this council has always supported community. I couldn't go past the way they helped us with the West Connect when we were having terrible time with the parking, the noise and that. So council implemented a 4-week parking area down there and looked up, and that helped us a lot. And all we're doing is asking for the council, just requesting the council, they follow our request and have us put in there, and then everybody knows where they're going off. I can tell you this, right, we lost a lot of homes down there, and the dealings, I can deal with what happened, and we were told that everybody would get a fair go on price, and that there was one house there with an old lady that was undersold, and West Connect done the wrong thing then. There's another house right on the corner of Ismay Avenue and Allen Street where they've done, what is it, dilapidation report?
Combination.
Yeah, and they went through that. That house is completely wrecked, and they've never come back and taken responsibility.
I don't know, they don't.
No, there is. So there's people who just need to get on with their life and just know, and that's all we're asking for, is that consideration. So I thank everybody here, and I hope that we can all move forward.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. We're going to dinner. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Next, declaration of hearing interest or conflict of interest, councillors.
I think I feel up home already because my home was in the PR cards, so I never made it next one. Thank you.
Yeah, councillor.
So there, I think there not peculiar, non-significant conflict of interest on the closed session item GM1. I worked in local government for a number of years. There were applicants in the director recruitment process that I had worked with previously. And one of the preferred applicants that I will talk to you about in the closed session, I have worked with for 3 months back in 2018. It's non-peculiar, non-significant, has not impacted my decision due to the time and place since I last worked for that person.
Just again, in respect of P2 is so non-peculiar, non-significant. So I've previously provided legal advice to a person owning property within the Perth area.
Just to give on to the so council confirmation of minutes, council meeting 6th of September, 2022, from the mover councillors, seconded by councillor Hall, seconded by councillor Reddy, any debate councillors? Nil, I'll put the recommendation. Councillors, councillor Day. Minutes.
Minutes.
So keep up. Thank you, unanimous. I'll move on to acknowledgements. I'll start, I've got a section joint acknowledgement. We want to talk and the Deputy Mayor. It's a protocol, Madam Deputy Mayor. So yeah, basically it's just about the background and infrastructure contribution reform, and I'm sure Councillor Hall I really to, I'll have to have a talk on this one as well. Basically, the government has backed it up from these changes, and that's what we do into council. And I think Councillor Councillor has a couple of weeks to go as well.
Really, it's just a big win for local government for New South Wales because councils have just been targeted without cost. It's without cost stuff. And we do think this was an absolute fast from the state government, and we're just happy that it's actually gone and they've taken it off the agenda. Thank you very much.
Councillor Hall, I know you're very passionate about the issue. I'll allow you to comment on that one if you like.
I've actually got two, one acknowledgement, but I will talk about the infrastructure contributions. I'm happy to say that as I'm working for a crossbencher, Mr. Nathan, who is very much a proponent of fighting this infrastructure contribution. And last year he wrote to 110 councils himself personally, telling all the councillors what was wrong with this legislation, and it's good to see that the government has actually backed down. Now, I have an acknowledgement. My acknowledgement is about the new Italian Prime Minister. As you all know, I'm an immigrant of Italy, and I am thrilled that, and I'd like to acknowledge the new Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, being the first female Prime Minister of Italy. Now, that is a huge achievement. So Prime Minister Meloni was born in January 1977 in Rome. Her parents, one of her parents actually comes from Sicily, which is where I come from. She was a journalist, and she was the first elected to the Chamber of Deputies in 2006. She is a conservative, and she defends God, country, and family. One of her quotes, which I thought was fabulous, was, "It is only by defending a country's sovereignty that we can defend the political sovereignty that belongs to the citizens of that country." So we want a government by the people for the people. That's what she believes in, and I think it's a great achievement. But everybody, yes, thank you.
And I'll just say councillor, so that's the extent of the.
Oh, I only had one.
It is the end of them.
Oh, right, sorry. Yes, I would like to acknowledge our very fast growing Nepalese community and our Hindu community that's celebrating the festival of Dussehra tomorrow.
Is that okay to say? Yeah, that's right.
This festival symbolises the triumph over evil in the legend of Rama and Ravana. I wish everyone a very happy day and with your family and friends, and I hope you're all having the day. Thank you.
I would like to acknowledge, our Peter Wong. Peter Wong is an Australian politician. He was he's a community leader in the Chinese community, and also a founder of the Unity Party, and he also represented the party in the New South Wales upper house. Peter Wong's birthday is coming, on the 12th of October. It's going to turn into be 80
Oh,
years old.
happy birthday.
And Peter Wong is resided in Australia.
Was he born in Australia?
I'm not sure.
But he, besides the travel.
Oh, he resides in Australia.
Yeah, she's currently still live here.
Peter Wong, founder of the Unity Party.
Yeah, founder of Unity Party.
Right. Okay.
And he been the Parliament House in the state for 8 years.
Yes, councillor Data.
So, an acknowledgement for some of the celebrations that are going to be, has been organized and being organized over this month by the Hindu community, Nepalese community, and Bangladeshi Hindu community as well. Like Durga Puja, which is happening, Dashera, which is Council of Pennsylvania mentioned just a minute ago. Vishwakarma Puja, I can spell it for the limit takers later on. Vishwakarma Puja and Bhai Dooj. So I congratulate the community for celebration of all of this. Thank you. Diwali is also coming.
In October.
Coming in October, so thank you. And Diwali is coming as well. And Diwali and Kali Puja, I shall spell it all out for you later. These are various celebrations coming in the Parliament House, in the various corners of the community. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you, councillor Data. Other councillors? Comments? No, moving on. The third outstanding matters of a board mill. Motion there, please, to vote. I move that in accordance with the first second council meeting practice, council alter the order of business in accordance with 4.8.1. And the item is reserved by exception, and that we don't do it by open motion. The mayoral minutes, paper 1, mayoral minutes. Consideration. Mayoral minutes 10.2. Any other, but you just,
All right.
yes, but why, it's, small things, but it's one.
I have one question on 10.2, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Just a question. The question was that it refers to about council recovering cost from the transport from South Wales. I'm just wondering that what is the mechanism available for council to recover the cost from transport or the government of South Wales?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there is no formal mechanism available to council, but that are the representations that we make to the relevant ministers in the department. To seek compensation if we were to do those works.
Thank you.
13.2, which is the traffic committee minutes. 13.3, which is the audit and risk committee minutes. And then we move on to GMU 1. Council teams overall, page 180. And CC is 2, page 188. And you have a question?
No, no question. Can I just recognise our CFO, Francis Macker, for his work today, that we all met and went through the finances. It was a very clear and really, I really understood exactly where we stand, and your explanation was brilliant. Thank you, Francis, for everything that you do in your accounting department.
And on that, I'll virtual council, they had a private briefing to approach Smedley, and it was very, very important information to the council. CCS 3, page. CCS 3, council resolutions, 266. CCS 5, CCS 4, sorry, page 279. This our minutes with all the items from the workshops that we had.
Excuse me. CCS 1 is out.
Yes.
CCS 7 is out.
It's in.
No, we haven't really, yeah, one is,
We're
basically
basically that one, and we're going to talk.
CCS 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, 6, 8, 9. So 7 and 1
Okay.
will be separate.
Yes. Next one.
And then PE 1, page 314, water sensitive urban design.
But
PE
CCS 7,
is going to be out. We're going to sort of talk about that. There's some discussion about that one. I think already. So PE 1, water sensitive design, page 314. PE 4.
I actually have some questions.
PE 4, if you want to discuss later, I think. Yeah, so just remove PE 4, please. EO1. That's the 2 licenses for the offices in their premises. Page 369. That's been taken from the workshop council. The council. EO3. The consolidated PCB, page 375. EO4. The Tower Creek Ridge update. That's the updated the workshop. Page 400. EO7. The Australian Public Parking Strategy 400, page 14. Okay. So councillors, but it's moved by myself, I have a second there, councillors.
Fine. I mean, that's where we change it.
Fair, do you change that?
It's a process.
If I can, second by councillor Tanser. So all in favour, councillors? Sorry. Okay, so we move on to 13.1, report from the Wellbeing Advisory Committee, page 37, councillors. I will move from this recommendation. Councillors, moved by councillor Pezzini, seconded by councillor Data. Any discussion, councillors? That's Wellbeing Committee.
Just in mention the recommendation. So, going back to the minutes,
Councillor
number 12, in going back to, I think it was in August. I think I'm pretty sure it was in August. The minutes said that, this member for Stafford would be a participating member, not a community representative. So that's what was passed. So with that, I don't think that, but, you know, maybe this needs to go back to the people, to the staff member that was there, that, and go back to the charter and the minutes, because we can't pass it, because it's not what the minutes say.
So did you want to go to a recommendation, councillor, or that maybe the minutes of the advisory be held at a date be noted
As we noted,
and
there's, I know, it's, as we, How do I do
refer back
information on it,
or
to refer to the charter and minutes. Councilman's. From the charter is in terms of reference.
in terms of reference and
And,
council resolution and council resolution.
yes.
And
We can't be, we can't.
then come back to it.
And then it's.
And then
So do you have to nominate?
back
No,
for consideration. That's a future council meeting. So refer back to refer to the terms of reference in the council resolution and then come back for consideration of a future council meeting. Is that what you're trying to suggest, councillor? Are you happy with those changes, councillor?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not a big issue.
no, it's just.
Yeah. Any further discussion, councillors? The council does have a good point, you know, we have to create a reference and we should see, so. Reference. Okay, so all those in favour, councillors, as written? Against? Councillor Benjamin? So, full motion, councillor Reddy, councillor Soren, councillor Dyer, councillor Hall, and Mayor. Against, councillor Benjamin, and councillor Barker. You're voting against? Yeah. Voting against. Okay, I declare it carried. We'll move on to 14.1, page number 38. Councillor Reddy, Mason Park, recommends parking standards. Do we have a second for that motion? Yes. Councillor Reddy. Thank you, it's councillor. Yes, councillor. Yeah.
Friends of Wilson Park has been taken to any place. They're doing the good work of counting the birds and taking private tours for the interested people. And they requested for the parking ticket, which will be limited to only to the Mason Park parking. And then it's because they can't use that parking space because it won't work anywhere else. They need only for that particular park, because sometimes their tour takes more than an hour, or 2 hours, so they even got fines in the previous time, so they were requesting for them. And it will be good for us to encourage the local citizens.
For 2 hours for tour. Okay, if I can just have a question through the Through myself.
Chair.
Family really. Is it possible for council to issue permits in this manner?
To Mr. Mayor, so I have checked this with the manager, Einstein, and it is possible that they have a system that they can put in place to accommodate this sort of request.
Any other questions, councillors, any further debate?
So I just change, a couple of words. Can I change that council provide parking permits or stickers? And then change in the next sentence, change there to the. Maybe you want to put that the parking permits with a plural S. Be removed should, valid, only Mason Park and only 3 permits, maybe we should. Yeah.
Permit should only be valid in. You happy with that, councillor Ridley? Yes? Any further debate? Any further debate, councillors?
Sorry, I'll look to change it.
I'll possibly chat.
Thank you.
No further debate, councillors? Okay, I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour? Unanimous. Okay, we'll move on to 14.2. Shopping complex, permitting take 179. Councillor Lowy, sorry, councillor Darling, you have the.
Yes.
That's good.
Do we have it? Sorry, do I have a second to the motion, councillor?
I can second it.
Thank you, councillor Charlotte. You have the floor, councillor Darling.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And before I have thought about this abstract motion because many people around the area have posted on this. While I thought about it, as I knew that somebody might call me Mr. Tankley or something, but I have probably, sorry? Mr. Lawyer. I accept that. And I think I'm probably known that I have never in my life taken any tea or coffee with a builder or developer, nor I work for any builder or developer. Or I'm very concerned that there are many other shopping centers being planned or being proposed to be planned in the area. And my proposal will not make them very happy either. I'm very much aware of all those things. But I had to represent my constituents honestly, that people living in the area have been complaining for years about parking facilities in the vicinity of Pennington Station and also having a proper shopping complex in the area. So despite considering the adverse publicity I might get, as being named as Mr. Loy, or being or anyone who might be thinking of building bigger shopping centers in Strathfield or Homebush or somewhere. I know things are coming, there are big monies playing, but I have to remain true to my constituents who have been asking for it. So I would appreciate very much if you all could support the urge or need of these residents who are living in a poor corner of this Strathfield. And look at this. They do not have any proper. They do not have a proper shopping center. They do not have any parking facilities. Not only that, some people takes half an hour on a weekend to get from their home to Flemington Shopping Center, just to get there and to drive there, and then there is no place for them to park their car or do the shopping. So I think there is an immense need for building car parks and building a proper shopping facility for the forgotten people who are living in that corner. So I would highly appreciate you all to support it, please. And I'm saying that I'm again repeating myself only. I have no particular interest. I've never worked for any builder. Neither I take tea or coffee with any builder, and I am supporting it because I don't really care if some big builders or someone else like that takes or being annoyed for my proposal, because I can understand that if there is a shopping center built there, that might impact on the business of other areas are there. So I would appreciate if you can support it. Thank you.
Any debate, councillors?
Question,
Yes, councillor Reddy.
so are we planning to take off all the shops and build a new shopping?
It's a report. Yeah, sorry, I should clarify. What I am saying, this motion is not about a building a shopping center. This motion, because I do not know, I've never worked for a builder or shopping center or anyone. This report, this motion is about for the council to look into the possibility of is there a reasonable option to build a shopping complex for this area?
Sorry.
Is there, council looks into the possibility of building a shopping complex or increase the parking facilities around the Flemington Station shopping system? And present options to councillors for consideration of the December, present the consideration in the December council 2022 meeting. I'm sorry I didn't read the motion because I was chided 2 months ago by the mayor because I was reading the motion. So my apology if I didn't read. So this is not about a building a shopping center. This is about asking the authorities who knows how to do it for them to coming up with a report of options, whether it is feasible or not. That's all it is. It is not about building any shopping center. Thank you. If any other question, I'm happy to take any other question.
Do councillor have any land over there? Apart from the car park?
Look, councillor, we have a car park there. Yeah.
Apart from
Yeah.
that, nothing.
Please. Debate, councillors?
No, you go first.
Yeah.
So I hate being baited. I feel like the fish that jumps into the boat, but I'll just point out that if the purpose is not to physically build a shopping complex, then one would go to one of the LEP reviews that we are invited to, apply to have a mixed commercial zoning in that area, and to perhaps specify in the DCP that there be parking associated with the construction of new buildings in that area. Simply suggest that that is one possibility. I'd also say that it's very brave to stand up to the developers who do not want a shopping complex in Flemington. But I can also say that the people that do own shops within the shopping complex that exists at Flemington may also have something to say about disparaging their businesses to saying that council should set up an alternate and competing facility next door to where they are. I mean, but with all that said, I support your bravery against the powerful development interests that are undisclosed. And I will most certainly be supporting this because I am fundamentally a humorous person and I look forward to seeing what council officers make of your requests.
This councillor.
I actually have some recommended amendments, only because I did have this discussion with Councillor Dada earlier in the day. I am a bit concerned as to how the entirety of the council body would look like, and the reflection that it actually would bestow on the body if we let this go the way it is. Maybe I'm the person who thinks that.
Happy to take your, listen to your recommendation.
And I do have a question through the chair, maybe to the GM. It's not, it isn't even possible for council to build a shopping complex.
This is not about, I think it's not about. this
That's what
question
we're
is
change,
not
that's what I want to change the
about- No,
word.
we already changed the look.
Councillor that,
Yes, I, yeah.
It could be a VPA or.
It's pretty interesting there. I think anything's possible, depending on the funding and the funding.
Councillor William.
Okay, so my amendment is, that council looked to consider, the council consider the options available through the LEP process of delivering. Delivering a shopping complex and increased parking facilities. I think that
In the Flemington area.
in the Flemington area. I think that may help, us look like
We're not,
We know.
everything that, yeah. And I have to reiterate, I mean, I have to agree with, the former councillor, my colleague on his speech earlier, I think this sort of current, no, my focus on the speaker.
Yeah, you said former.
The former speaker, my learned friend.
You know, that's right, it doesn't matter.
My learned friend. So anyway, that's my truth.
Do you accept that amendment, councillor Data?
yeah, I would accept it, just I wanted to, those are the things I had in my mind.
For everyone.
Yeah, I would like to accept, but with some additions, that the council consider the options available to the LEP or any other reasonable process. I don't want to restrict them in it, so I didn't want to restrict them in any way. If that's the option, or any other reasonable process. That's all I accept it. Thank you.
Councillor Chai, are you, seconding that? Are you, accepting those amendments?
I accept the amendments, but based on my knowledge, since I've been in Homes West for more than 20 years, Flemington Shopping Center, it is a little bit old. And then some of the building is burned down, we never built again, it's living there, it looks not very nice actually. So as the council, we request a report, find a possibility whether we can build a better Flemington Shopping Center. I will support it. That's why I second it. Thank you.
Any further debate, councillors?
If I get closing.
I was just asking any further debate.
Point of order,
Yes.
the amendment, the motion, it doesn't have the report part of it, sorry. Sorry, okay.
The council reports.
It'll come back obviously through the LEP process, but it's not like, I don't need this to be like a straight out.
It can't be just a report, it's got to come through the LEP.
But that can let us know that council doesn't know it has to be, but that's the process. But, I don't know, what do you think?
I think the essentiality to essentially the report was the essence of my, I think, so that it shows that it's coming. So. Sorry.
I think, if councillor Hall's amendment was to consider, just saying consideration in, at a future council meeting, instead of specifying a date, there's a lot of things that are coming up in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Consider that, councillor.
Mr. Chair, I think I will make 2 points particularly. One of that is the parking areas. The council may consider, to build something in the parking areas.
Yeah, that would be
Councillor, that's a different.
The second thing is, that's what I said before, some of the shopping units been burned down already. Only the front level is to be used. But if we can do something, make a Flemington shopping center better, I fully support it.
I think councillor Hall and councillor Maheswaran's points about doing this through the LEP process is probably the appropriate way to do it, as we're not a Well, we're not really, we don't, firstly, we just reported a $5.7 million deficit, and we're not in the position to be building shopping centres.
Yeah, I think I just would like to add that and present the report with options for consideration. If you said, future council meeting, the presents the report with options for consideration at future council.
Okay, great. Any further debate, councillors?
Yes, can I
Yes,
just ask a
Councillor.
question to the chair?
Yes.
During our LEP process, will we be doing this anyway?
Assume.
Wouldn't this be a part of our LEP to look at Wellington and see how we can improve our parking and shopping areas?
Well, look, councillor Pennsylvania, I know you were there and you did raise it with me about the commercial core strategy that has been brought forward to council already. But this is, I think, an additional strengthening of it that the brave stance that councillor Data is taking. So, yes. Anything else, councillors? You have spoken, councillor Rob, but I will allow it.
Because we all have been.
Mr. Mayor, you're aware of the recent circulations about spot research. And that would this be tantamount to, in effect, spot rezoning this by preempting the LEP? Because that's generally seen as a bad thing. And that the LEP process, as I understand it, is meant to be a comprehensive review of the entire district and the entire area, and is informed by things like, for example, traffic studies, but also in respect to shopping centres, economic studies that compare rivaling economic zones so that you don't create, say, two shopping centres that rival each other in competition and then they bankrupt each other.
We usually run with them the same commercial core study that we also.
I think that's what I'm referring to.
Yes.
I just want to direct that to you, Mr. Mayor, have considered that before moving forward.
Thank you. Comments have most of it. It sounds that that is the choice to deal for this motion. And you can vote for the. So any further debate, council, I think we've all had enough. Everyone's had a talk. Did you need to close, councillor?
That's a quick move.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that there is a concern that there will be rival and competition around. I think that is unfounded. If there is should there be a report and there are due considerations, I'm pretty sure if there is a new shopping center, if it was built or proposed to be built, there would be ways for the current businesses to participate in the process, and that could be discussed, but that's far away. We are not talking about preparing a report that discusses the options that are possible, and I'm sure that the options consider how that could be done in harmony with the current businesses, what opportunities could be there. It is not about rivaling any particular business. It would be about creating some opportunities for shopping opportunities for the local people who do not have proper shopping facilities. So that's all it is. So I would appreciate if you all can support it. It is not about creating a rival shopping center in one area. It is about creating a shopping complex that the local community can enjoy, and also that can accommodate all of the local businesses that are currently doing business there. And the report, I'm sure the options and all that will consider that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, councillor. I'll put the motion to councillors, all those in favour, councillors. Councillor Data, councillor Chai. All those against. Councillor Levy, councillor Crowe, councillor Hall, councillor Pennsylvania, and the mayor declares motion lost. Okay, after that, we will move on to CCS1 committee update. Moved by councillor Hall, seconded by councillor Blackmore. And I have a small amendment and the point two on it's not going to on the end of the first the point two sentences that Councillor Hall, be, added as a councillor recommended. You're happy with that? Yes.
Yeah.
Any valence councillors? I'll put your two councillors in favour. Unanimous. Okay. CCF seven, community grades 288. And all youth councillors, seconded by Councillor Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's good, also. You give it to me.
Oh, sorry, Councillor.
I'll let you.
And I do have an alternate recommendation for this council. I have had some representation from councillors.
Let's go for it.
It's on the page, it's on the, watch. Yes.
And we just have,
Just 1 second, just on the.
Oh,
Yeah.
so if you look at the, all the capitals, they, was the. And the, can I just say that the road fund extra scholarship was $1,000, it wasn't $100. So that's the recommendation that I'm putting councillors.
Just go up,
This, sorry, if you just, would you like me to read through it, councillors?
Well, if you
yes, we need to scroll up to
Let's
it.
start out with the ready for.
So Chalmers Road School P&C was, is an increase to $5,000.
it costs 300 now.
Oh, closure is in, oh, not just fence. Right.
The next one was the Holy Archangel Michael Serbian Orthodox Church is to $1,000. Home P&C is $2,000. Then the next one was the Multicultural Seniors Association, it's $2,000. The Rotary Club of Stratford Peter Smith Scholarship, that was recommended by 800, increased to $1,000. The Nan's Anglican Church Hall, 1,000, so if you look at what we've got on there. St Paul's Anglican Church, the Victoria Shed for the food pantry, they were granted 5,000, we're keeping that the same. The Children's Medical Research Institute Stratford Committee, $1,000. Stratford Cricket Club, sorry, installation of Stratford Cricket Club is their scoreboard is 5,000. The Stratford Female Football Club, I'm recommending to increase the Female Football Festival from $1,000 to $2,500. Based on that, having requested 5 more, so I think it's something that we should support, or I believe we should support, but obviously councillors
The World Cup.
can have their say. Stratford Girls, the garden beds for the school, $1,000. School for seniors, $1,000. Stratford West senior citizens, $1,000. Sydney Korean United Church for the Korean Playgroup, $1,000. The Shepherd Centre for Deaf Children, $2,000. So that's the community development projects grants that I'm recommending. Yep, and I did actually.
There was an ad on there. Yeah,
That's
sorry.
not if you put on. Okay.
Oh, there it is there. So that should be on the top one.
So this is the Gillingham Avenue Christmas, obviously we know they all have the Christmas
That's it.
party there, and that's for their
The lights.
their Christmas lights. I know Councillor Hall and Councillor Pennsylvania both very passionate about these, local, residents. And I've included that there. We all are.
We are too.
In particular, I can see there last year, right? But,
What do you mean, you know?
and at the cultural projects. So it's, yeah, Australian Heritage Association, 2,000, different native people. The Chinese painting classes, 2,000. Symphonia Jubilate, 5,000. Hindu Council of Australia is 5,000. St. Gregorius, they've granted 1,000, and that's going to be $1,000. SAISH is 5,000. And then the next one is Stratford Public School Parents and Citizen Associations. So that was recommended for 2,300. And I was recommending that we give them $3,000. It's for musical reasons for the school. And I think it's in my opinion, it's a good course. But obviously other councils will discuss it. And that's my recommendation, councillors. If you have any debate or any amendments or anything like that, please, this is the time to do it. Yes, councillor.
Like to, our residents have approached me about the cricket club, the electronic, scoreboard. They don't see that as a community project. They see that only as those that play cricket, and a lot of them actually don't. The people that play there don't live in the Strathfield area. So I'd like to see that actually come down. To what, 2.5?
And Councillor.
Yes, fine.
So 2.5 to change that to 2,500. Yep.
The
I'm happy
Telugu,
to accept that amendment, councillor. So councillor.
the Telugu Association, 80% of their people are actually from the Homebush / Homebush West area. What happened to the Telugu Association is they used to hire the library, the bathroom in the library every single week. But unfortunately, that was no longer available on Sundays at the time.
Was that good?
Yeah, there was, so unfortunately, there wasn't anything else available that was big enough. And so they had to move outside of the area, but 80% of their members still come from the Homebush, and they tried not to move away too far away, still come from the Strathfield, Homebush West area. So I'd like to see them just get the 1,000. I think is it the first time that they've applied, and it's not something that, they apply all the time, and they're quite, they're quite something in what they ask, and I think it's given them $1,000, considering that 80% of their members do live in the Strathfield area. I would like to ask a question about the, and
That's good one. I'll just, yeah, councillor Hall, next one.
the other one that I was, looking at was, oh, yes, so the Hindu Council of Australia. So, huge proponent of the Hindu Council of Australia, and in fact, if you go on social media, you'll see my boss all over the social media with the Hindu Council and all their functions. But I'm just wondering, what is, with a Merrill Minute, what are we offering with the Merrill Minute? Is that, are we?
I'd like to do it possibly, we're working with this, and that's why we're giving them the, I recommend 5,000 to, for their event.
Okay. I would like to say something about the Rotary Club of Strathfield graffiti.
Yeah, so what do you say to the council?
Oh, I just wanted to find out, I was under the impression that you were assisting in a number of ways, but With the Rotary Club of Strathfield, I do disclose that I am a member. However, I'm just wondering, and I will put a, you know,
If you're interested, yes.
definitely, I'm not in that financial gain. There is a proposition to do some graffiti removal on private properties. While council has funds for public property, there is nothing happening for private property. Now, while they have a ute and equipment to do private property, they have one side of the equation and they need, I don't know how much was there before. 2,000. Look, they need some paint. So it would be really good to at least pay for that. Or my other, the other issue was to, maybe I'll just put up a motion for something that council can do. It's about paying people to do murals or buy some paint so people can do for free, can do some murals. So while they provide one part, should we give them a grant for the other part? That is, I'm not suggesting any amount. All I'm doing is just putting it to councillors in order to consider. We have graffiti removal for public, but we have no graffiti removal for private property. And I know the Homebush West shop are crying out for somebody to remove the graffiti in private property. They want council to do it, but council, and I've requested and I've asked council what our stipulations are, and council cannot do it. So unless we come up with something else that is going to provide for private removal, then that's the only option I can see is for the Rotary Club to do it, because they have half of the equipment. Now they just need some funds for some paint. But I'm not going to suggest an amount. I'll just leave it for councils, for council to.
Your Honor, I support the being removal of additional funds. Do you support that change, council? We are giving them one grant already. I think it's only fair.
We are giving, just a question, are we giving them some grants? Just.
Yeah, we already have one grant from Rotary.
That's a Peter Smith scholarship. It's not a.
So I'm happy to get the Peter Smith scholarship, but we need to be very equitable with one bite of the cherries, so to speak. Yes, councillor? I'm happy to accept all those except for the last one. Any further discussion debate, councillor?
No, that's it.
No? Okay, I'll put it as on the screen. All those in favour, councillors? Unanimous. Okay. PE2, Strathfield 6 to 10-year housing target, 332. Moved by councillor Blackmore, seconded by the deputy mayor. I have quite a large amendment. Councillors, my apologies for just short of people today. This is but I get I see that council supports the delivery of the 6 community housing supply within the Strathfield local government area, and I'll read the council just from the on the council is to prioritise the entire PRS Homebush precinct in the Strathfield SGA, including if they have any Homebush and areas of mentioned in the local housing strategy services department, and as recommended by the department in the event dated 21st of September 2021. Including but not limited to Homebush West Town Centre, Flemington, Strathfield Town Centre, including extension of the Town Centre, Liverpool Road Centre and Belfield. 2. In order to meet our committee's need to housing diversity and as per the recommendation of the Department, Council is to investigate both police and residential with the intention of reviewing the density and investing out after areas to provide housing options such as townhouses and villas. 4. In order to meet our community's needs for additional freestanding dwellings, council is to investigate areas where properties have a dual street frontage with the intention of providing an alternate minimum lot size to facilitate subdivision of these properties. 5, that council investigates the inappropriate zoning of any commercial buildings with a view to rezoning back to a zone which allows commercial / shop type use. 6, that council, sorry, just this, councillor Shire, I think you may have, conflict on this matter, sorry. Just have the councillor Shire left the room. The council investigates the residents' request for removal of conservation area located at Will Beach Street, according to my home, with a view of increasing the capacity of the employment zone. 7, council takes into consideration the recommendations of the town and master plan committee if they are endorsed by council. 8, council endorses a procurement process being undertaken to appoint suitably qualified consultants to prepare the relevant study that will inform a future planning proposal as part of a significant amendment in Stratford Local Environment Plan LEP and possible future amendments to that LEP. 9, that a further update be provided to the December council meeting on the outcome of the procurement process in item 2 above for council to confirm the budget allocations of specific studies to be included as part of the initial version of the LEP and the studies to be included as part of future amendments to that LEP. 10, that the 4 existing proponent-led planning proposals within the Hamish precinct be brought to a council meeting. We just amend that, yeah, for individual consideration. Point 11, council withdraws the Stratford LEP 2021 from the New South Wales Planning Portal. And 12, that council writes to Stratford state and federal members, which and relevant ministers seeking support in obtaining financial assistance from state agencies, including Department of Planning and Environment and Transport for New South Wales, to support a revised planning proposal for comprehensive view of the Stratford local environment plan. This is the stuff that we have been asking for as councillors, and these amendments I have put forward because basically the proposal that was the way we were headed and what was recommended, in my opinion, didn't deliver what the community actually needs and actually wants and has been asking us for based on our former workshops and the work that we've been doing in this area. A lot of these recommendations are, the point is that, as discussed, so it's clear for the public, that the point 8, which talks about council endorsing the procurement process, is basically about council conducting the procurement process for consultants in EOI or tender. Yeah, correct. Thank you. A tender process, which would see feasibility of which of these components can be included, and it will come back to December, and what we can actually deliver in the timeframes and the constraints that we have. And it will come back to December for councillors to make a decision to say yes or no, we can proceed with it, we can afford this, or we can't afford this, or this is the direction that we want to head in. So I would ask councillors, this is the time, this is one of the most important things that we are doing on this council. I don't think we should be doing what I would say is a sort of sense review the area. It happened in 2012 in the previous LEP, and we ended up with some really, really poor planning outcomes. And I know there are considerations with the legacy funding, that if we don't do this kind of things on time, there is a financial impact with this component. So I just think as councillors, we need to get on board and we need to really look at what we want to deliver for the community. And I personally think, and this is why some of the really density diverse housing stuff that I've put in there, I don't think that, residents will be happy again to have an LEP that only delivers houses and high density apartments. So I urge you to support the councillors. I urge you, let's talk about it, the changes that anyone wants to talk about it. Let's get this done properly and let's move forward so that our staff have a clear direction.
The question, Mayor, is it
Yes,
additional proposal Actually, I'm thinking that is the replacement of the
Yeah.
thing that we have discussed before.
Yeah, so this is what it incorporates it still incorporates the archives area. Which is what, the acting director,
This is the replacement.
what it is saying is that let's look at the other options which planning department has asked us to look at, and other options that, residents have talked to us about, and see what we can and we can't push forward in the actual LEP that we will lodge, and we'll hope that, the department will be favorably according to the basis extended time frame to deliver the property.
Okay, can I go to the top of the, screen?
Number one, please, Dave.
There's an error, there's a spelling error on the film.
You go back a minute.
Is it a motion, not a mural, it's a motion,
This is a report,
Report recommendation on
it's a PE two from the planning department.
Only. Is it the council right?
it.
Council rights.
332.
Yes.
Okay.
Which one?
Of the English.
Which one, councillor?
Just grammatically,
What, where, which one?
I'm asking my learned friend, who's extremely learned, whether it's a right or rights with an S. The select grammatic, that would be
The
nice.
number says. That's it.
Councillor.
Community spill.
Councillor
Down
Rice.
the last one,
The last
is
one.
it a council right or
Which one?
council right?
That was.
It's right.
Right, that was from the original recommendation, councillor, but that's not, pretty much.
I feel a couple of places and it's got a bit of a sticker for,
It's one action.
It's actually right.
Oh, it's good.
also,
Right. Two.
Only debate councillor on this.
Can I go to the proper, just a moment?
Yes, councillor.
Okay.
Well, I didn't have a copy. We should give it a copy.
yeah,
So Mr. Stacky's off. I think. Sorry, I didn't see this.
Well, just have it.
It's all right.
Councillor Hall, do you have any, balance matters, reporting on the. Good point, point 2. Can you scroll to point 2, David? First one.
oh, right, okay.
Councillor Reddy, do you have any, further questions? I know we've talked about this, but not today.
Yeah, I think
Your
I'm,
concerns are covered.
yes.
So now,
Yes, councillor.
so start or just querying that. I think the original recommendation was to hold, just because it's the most immediate, the initial recommendation was to hold the 4 planning proposals within being described as the home precinct. I think the position here is to everything else. Is there any reason underline?
I just think, I think a bit of the discussion, today with, some councillors, was that the financial situation that the council is in, and I'm supporting the performance of the planning department, to say that we are supporting, growth in this area, we're not on developments, and it'll just pipeline coming in developments for several years.
So I think it's the last part. Almost.
That's
It's
exactly
the
it.
very last part of it.
Just about there's potential that these people, once they see there's going to be a deferral to an LEP, which could possibly be over 2 years for its implementation, that there was significant amongst councils and the potential loss of revenue to the council. If they did go to pay departments and if they're not working with us, and can you, whatever you like to review, planning review.
So, Mr. Mayor, in respect of the new point 2.
Yeah.
This is just to confirm my understanding.
Yeah.
Is that when you say is to prioritise the entire per cuts Homebush precinct, and additionally those areas being Homebush West.
So, yeah, so.
No, so, sorry, I'm speaking a bit slow.
I think what the planning department's obviously asked us for is that PR cuts strategy is what they're trying to base a lot of our housing targets on. The local housing strategy actually talks about the short-term housing targets and housing supply being including these other precincts as well. So I just think going to the planning department to say, hey, this is, just you can put everything here. I don't think it's an appropriate way to deal with it, and that's why I put that recommendation.
Sure, but in respect of this point 2, am I correct in understanding that when you say prioritise the entire per cuts precincts?
Yeah.
You're not proposing to endorse the controls in the per cuts, but rather that the new precinct study area would encompass everything that is touched by the per cuts. And
Yeah, to look at that, so.
okay.
Yeah.
And not just,
So it's not saying whatever is there, whatever the PR cut says is what we do.
and I suppose the other thing I'll just clarify, it'd be useful, I think, if we clarify that, because
Yeah.
it's become,
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's, I definitely,
I just keep in the back of my mind that this stuff is studied closely by observers that are both extremely anxious about it and extremely.
so how would you, prioritize
I'll just clarify one additional point.
the investigation?
Yeah.
Well, are we talking about the entire frame area of the per cuts, or are we talking about the immediate study area? Because one is a lot larger than the other.
Same thing, time.
Which is entirely fine.
Yeah.
If we're doing that, but I just thought to clarify that before we could propose.
But we don't, like, it's not,
Because the frame area is everything up to the M3,
Yeah.
the west.
House prioritised the investigation or study. That's enough one. Or investigation or study, or
Of the study.
study, yeah. Study.
Excellent. Big time.
That be.
Study.
Yeah, but I'm definitely not saying that we just endorse from Sam. I'm not a fan. Not particularly. We don't,
I would think perhaps the better way to phrase this is to to reduce that ambiguity, especially around whether we're just blatantly endorsing per cuts, would be to say that council is to initial studies within the Stratford LGA, so excluding that component. And then mentioned within the local housing strategy. Yeah, mentioned within the local housing strategy submitted to the department and is recommended by the department in a letter in September, including, and then I would include after the including the entire of the area covered by
The
the.
council's commission say, we're going to mention the administration to the department. Including but not limited to the entire PR study. Okay.
Well, I said the entire area such as the per cuts. And,
Area.
yeah, and there's a,
To, yeah, that's.
and there's a component of our area that's in Strathfield and Strathfield in the
Yeah.
per cuts, so. But
So
yeah,
you just put a comma, David, comma, and then, delete on the next line, but not limited to. Is that a better point two? Is that what you want to do to actually make that a point two instead of what's there?
no, I think what you've done is right, which is to just put a comma there and then,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Point two has basically some similar text.
Would you
yeah,
remove two?
So would you remove change point two,
yeah, sorry, that's what,
delete point two?
yeah, sorry, no, sorry, I was speaking to amendments 2.2 when I was, sorry.
Would you,
So the new point two will be council's commission studies within Stratford or Jan mentioned within the local housing strategy. Submitted to the department and as recommended by the department in their letter dated 21st September, but not limited to the entire area subject to PR cuts, Homewood West Town Centre, Birmingham, Stratford Town Centre, including Special Town Centre, Liverpool Road Centre and Belfield. Is that?
Is that all?
The only thing with that, that is,
It's in the heart.
well, can I just, I'm sorry, it's important, so. What councillor Pennsylvania is saying that the removal of the, the street listed, is there that area?
yeah,
But I think that does, the entire area subject to that does
include that. yeah.
be incorporated.
I think that's right.
Does it include it?
It does,
All right, as long as it's in that area, yeah, because in the initial LEP we had, they were included.
Well, this essentially.
You did
That's
mention
right.
it. Yeah, thank you.
Well, sorry, Mr. Mayor, one concern I had, and this came up, I think, when we had the original motion about the Homebush North precinct or whatever we call it. But we're proposing an expenditure here that's, somewhere, my understanding would be somewhere between $1 to $2 million. Are we required to get a report about this before?
It does,
It doesn't come.
it does say that, it comes to the centre.
To the same.
Right,
But they're going to go to tender, finally, this is going, Mr. Bingham, yeah.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. So following this, if this is resolved by council, we'll issue a tender to the market. Assess that over October, November, with the plan to come back to the December meeting outlining what consultancies have, what they can do in the timeframes that we've got, what the prices are, and how much we recommend effectively commission given the timeframes that we've got.
I think what, my understanding, and I'm sorry, is there is a meeting in a couple of weeks or so. Especially the legacy.
Yeah. So, the department is meeting, I think, on the 14th of October. And that's when they'll be decision about, whether or not they'll accept our variation of the extension to the timeframe following this resolution.
We're missing a third line in number two, including but not limited to the entire.
Yep.
just one question, Mr. Mayor. This may have come up before, but it states here the recommendations of the Town Centre Master Plan Committee.
Yeah.
Purchase must, what is that?
Yeah, so that, it's actually, it's been in the works for a long time. It was actually for whatever reason, put on hold, for whatever reason. It's advertised at the moment, so it's, requesting like a Burwood Council, Canada Council, landowners, striders, interested parties, to have a, basically a committee. And that's sort of why, and they'll have a committee and discuss about a plan where we can work together and what we want to do. That's why I sort of put in there, if it is, if it's endorsed by council.
Okay,
Yeah,
understood.
it can happen, if it is endorsed by council.
Question to the chair. Is somebody on call? Here, explain and,
Yes.
there's a mic, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And under the,
it goes to Devo,
okay, good.
and then it goes up to,
Everybody.
like, this is Henry Cole.
No,
It doesn't show, so it goes.
there's not.
The other documents, the completed documents that,
They're in the back.
sort of, and,
Yeah, it's 35. In the back section.
you can send them out to the councillor. Yeah, that through line is the tweet. Page 35.
Blue line.
With the blue line.
I know blue line.
Blue, the other, you're on one.
Blue line. The small one, the small one.
Oh, the small map. The small map up the top.
The small, the small map.
It is a line.
Oh, it's a small map.
Yeah, that's Power Street.
Higher,
Okay.
the new ones.
Okay.
All right.
Number 5, the council investigate the future zoning of a commercial building,
Of any,
Of any commercial building.
of any commercial building. Interview.
it had been raised, we have to, nobody wanted to, address it there to speculation. But there have been approaches to council where a property was incorrect, zone you could have the open hold, to really which was actually commercial properties. And the owner has,
8 years.
yeah, been several years. It's not being touched with council, they are aware of it. We don't know why it wasn't, that they were giving cats, verbal guarantees that it would be included in the previous LEP, and it wasn't. So this is just making sure that these things will come with council. I'm happy to provide you more information offline if,
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
sorry, I'm wrong.
Remember on.
Just 3 points and that's it.
Yeah.
In respect of, just that point 5 that, councillor Dana raised, I just queried whether that's more appropriately dealt with as a spot rezoning. It strikes me that this is a process that will take no less than a year. And that is something that if there was ever a time for an appropriate spot rezoning, that would be it, rather than a shop. But that's just something I raised in general, but then,
That's true.
That's
true.
So I think what,
Yeah, look, I don't know.
yeah, we don't have that in here.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll take on those.
look, I would, there may be a particular person who has been approaching council, if they did put a, get things together, a planning proposal, and then they were advised by council to, that'll be included in the LEP instead of them doing their own planning proposal. So it's actually quite disappointing for them to.
yeah, so it just strikes me in circumstances where the LEP, there's no chance of any LEP being, endorsed within the next 6 months, no matter what it is. It just strikes me with that. I might want to,
Well, I think maybe that investigation might come back and say, that we can start rezoning certain things that we can.
Okay. Yeah, perhaps it's, as you say, it's something to
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that the council, that's all right.
Thanks. So,
Separately investigates. The word separately from investigates. Okay, well, let's tick it off anyway.
Yeah.
Just a question.
Yes, council Go.
Number 7,
Yes.
that council takes into consideration the recommendation of the town center master plan committee.
Yeah.
So is there a council committee or is there a?
I think you missed that one, councillor, that's councillor, I'm sorry, I'm just asking about it. It's a committee that's called the Richmond Interest Now. And it is a committee, to look at what, we can do down in the town centre. Yeah, so
So
That's
who are
what-
members of the committee?
with that department, it's very interesting. So we don't know who the.
Candidates from borough councils, from residents and stakeholders around the area.
Trains, buses, taxi, any party involved. So that's why I said if they are endorsed by council, because we don't know what's going to happen with that committee. And I don't, you can't say that has to consider.
So the committee has been formed or like?
Yeah. Sorry, pick up this.
I did,
Yeah.
so my understanding is that when there was a transition of the employment zoning within the LGA,
Mhm.
council had passed a motion, or I think it was moved in the workshop and then endorsed by the council subsequently, but the council's officers undertake a review of the most appropriate transition zones of each of the new zonings, right? So in circumstances where the one-for-one comparison provided by the department wasn't the most appropriate zoning, the council reviewed that and essentially reclassify those zones in the transition. Then at the last workshop, my understanding is that the deadline came due for providing those transitional zonings as part of the, there was the gazettal of the transitional set to give effect to the new employment zones. But the council was still a live motion, at least for the employment zone review to occur. And I just query whether that's something that's ought to be integrated into this broader motion about the LEP to integrate that process, considering that any LEP review will need to do that, that town sector analysis, that, all the relevant objectives.
So you must have had a point.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just add a point at the end.
Yeah, and I'll just suggest that council integrate its review
Integrated review.
of the employment zones and the enhancement of employment zones. The enhancement of employment zones into the LEP review. So they can just travel together. And sorry, Mr. Medio, I think I'm just querying this is my final thing is just, I assume that council officers will write to the department, explain the underlying justifications which have been discussed amongst the councillors for this approach. But I just thought I'd query whether that's something that should be included or whether that's something.
Well, actually, I would think that should be good. I agree with that. So did you want to, wording in there, point two?
Suppose the council write to the Department of Planning, I'd also say the Minister of Planning. To explain council's non-compliance previous timetable for the delivery of the Stratford LEP. And include in that correspondence council's reasoning that the underlying strategic planning studies required to provide an effective LEP, including meeting the department's expectations with respect to housing supply, employment zones.
So. You're doing very well done.
We're not sufficiently progressed.
We're not,
Work, so.
we're not.
But have now. Sorry, not but, have now, sorry,
No,
but
Over
progress,
and
comma,
has now.
we're not sufficiently progressed, and I think you close that sentence.
progress full stop,
Council
has now, yeah.
has now endorsed a strategy which those studies can be undertaken. I think it will be undertaken.
Oh, will be.
Yes, subject to funding. I think was the next, yeah, subject to funding. And with a view to complying with all the expectations for the strategic zoning in the area.
Strategic
Objective,
learning,
strategic objectives
strategic objectives
for the area.
for the area. Just for the area after it's, yeah. Five. It's amazing.
Should we meet, just on the second line, David, non-compliance with the previous timetables for movement constructed LEP, and including that across from the council's reasoning, strategic and planning zoning required to provide an effective LEP, including meeting the department's expectation with respect to housing supply and employment zone, were not sufficiently progressed. Council has now endorsed a strategy in which those studies will be undertaken subject to funding and with a view to complying with the department's strategic objectives for the area.
I have a question.
One second. Just kidding.
It should be a program. I think council should be a program. Council has now endorsed a strategy. That's not 15, yeah. No, it's not 15, it's just a continuous. Okay, put it back. Good. That's it.
Yes, that's going to be your place, Councillor.
My strategy.
Councillor, sorry. Yeah. Any question, Councillor Hall?
I do. I was under the impression that we hadn't quite not met our timetable, but we were trying to ensure that we met our timetable. So
Can I just make a comment? Councillor Hall? There was agreements signed by former employees of the council that tied funding to delivery of our LEP by the end of this year, this was before we even had a gateway determination. And it basically was an impossible task. And it took at risk the delivery of the LEP, and put at risk the $1.6 million or just over of legacy funding.
So that which
It's
is,
community council. Yeah. And that did not go through council. It was,
but, so what my point is that we haven't quite not met with compliance for a timetable yet, because the deadline is in December. So I'm just wondering, but we're writing plans to explain council non-compliance. Was that a bit,
we also, sorry, I don't have.
are we shooting ourselves in the
Yeah,
foot?
sorry, councillor, I don't have the, documented on also with the letter that we got regarding the local housing strategy, it actually had asked for some things by I believe it was June 2022, with some studies. And we haven't been those. Yeah. Any further debate, councillors?
No, yeah, just put anticipated non-compliance. So,
That's
fine.
Okay. We're good now, councillors? Everyone's okay, I'll put it to you, councillors, all those in favour? Unanimous. Yes, but, councillor Chino. We'll move on to PE three, Sydney Planning Panel, page 3 and 38.
Yeah, no.
Councillor Chai, we're moving on to PE three, Sydney
Oh, right.
Planning Panel on page 338. I will move it from this councillor, councillor Benson, seconded by councillor Reggie.
Oh, is there?
Yes, councillor.
I would like to defer this, PE3 motion and, to review the recommended, things that have been, pointed out in the report.
This report is deferred to the next council meeting.
Thank you very much. I believe it needs to be reviewed.
Are you happy with that amendment, councillor? Yes. Councillor Hall?
So you're going to delete the entire recommendation?
No, we're just going to review it.
You'll defer.
We're deferring it to the next council meeting.
And where is it going to be reviewed? When is it going to be? reviewed?
We're now planning director.
So don't you want to remove 1, 2, 3, 4? Or which ones of 1, 2, 3, 4 do you
Can
want?
I just defer this to the next council meeting? please?
Yes, so it's just the recommendation, we have either been to committee plan on Sydney, capital of the being deferred to the next council meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
with, and it's not going to the workshop?
No. Oh, yeah, it may have to.
Yeah, I think we should take it.
Yeah, and there'll be reasons for
But the next council.
it. Yeah,
That's not, so come to the workshop.
and then we'll come to it.
Okay,
Mhm.
councillor, any further debate? No, you're happy, councillor, you have, yeah, I put the recommendation, all those in favour? Unanimous.
Okay.
Chris, EO2, the Fair Reserve Dog Park, page 371.
I'll leave that.
I'll say it.
Yep. Sorry, councillors,
Oh,
one mistake. PE4, DCP one is pages, 342 was first, my apologies.
oh, I'll get my call.
342. 342.
So, one,
PE4, moved by councillors. Moved by councillor Reading, seconded by councillor Dana.
and.
Any debate, councillors? Obviously, have to debate this, so
What page?
PE4,
Yes,
page 343.
342.
342, that's, yes, I had sufficient reasons. So it's a few two, and four. Okay, so, so my questions are with regard to the special council pathway to net zero. It says in page 344, to achieve net zero in Strathfield LGA by 2050, many interventions will need to be made. Please do attachment 1. Those, and I understand, I can, obviously can see the circle, but what isn't,
Pie chart,
but what? Sorry?
pie chart.
The pie chart. I can see the pie chart. But what I can't see is how much these things will cost, number 1, council, number 2, the ratepayers. That's what I can't see. And I'd like to know those numbers. I'm not sure. You say
Are you making an amendment, councillor?
If we don't know those numbers, like, we're putting all these, we're putting the pie chart in, and we're saying reduction from, organics, and we're, which is all great. But we don't have how are we going to get there, what the costs are to council, the cost to
The
the
thing is,
ratepayer.
the DCP changes, so
What is,
the cost of the educational campaign. And then the cost actually be the rate, actually,
I'm not questioning the educational campaign, but it's, for them to make sustainable choices. But this, the Strathfield Council Pathway to Net Zero, it's not a choice. It's just saying this is how council's going to get there, but there's no details other than this pie chart, and then there's no, how is council going to, make reductions from material management? How is council going to, reductions from bill switching? How is council going to reductions in public transport? How is council going to do all this? It's just, I don't get it.
Are you making an amendment, Councillor Moore?
Yeah, okay, so through the chair, may I suggest, may I ask you, what amendment should we put? I mean, I don't want to hold up anything, but at the same time, why would this be in there if it doesn't give any numbers? I like numbers.
Really, they might want to have an amendment for, the detail of how it might be achieved, council.
Okay, sounds good.
So, point five. Four. Detail on how this will be achieved. Being presented to a future council workshop.
Thank you, Tanya.
You happy with that, Councillor?
Yeah.
Ready, with that today, you happy? Yes. Any further debate, councillors?
So just on the amendments. You say detail on how this, you know, should the detail.
No detail.
Well, that's good.
How it's probably that the DCP will be updated
Yeah.
and the residents will be follow the DCP.
To achieve net zero.
The achievement zero, how,
Isn't it just the cost of the educational campaign and then the other provisions like number 4 that will have to come back for our budget next year? So, or are you talking about the cost to the consumer? That those, the developers?
but not only the cost of the consumer, it says here, if you go to page 344, it says, Strathfield Council pathway to net zero. So this is the pathway to net zero. And it says to achieve net zero in Strathfield LGA by 2050, many interventions will need to be made. Okay, that's great. So how much are these interventions going to cost?
Yeah, that's the.
Well, I don't think it's actually, I mean, that's doing anything, Councillor.
No, and I'd like to know before it goes any further.
I'm not saying that it's incorrect, I'm just saying that, I mean, there's two different questions here. One is the cost of this educational campaign and the other is the cost of the amendments to the DCP and then the future amendments to the DCP that are envisaged in the motion. But
So maybe I can clarify number 0.5. The council provide detail on the pathway, on Strathfield Council pathway to net zero.
Including your cost and revenues, like what they will do, how and cost. That's it. So they.
So the launch the campaign internet may still go ahead, but it'd be good to have some more detail.
But you are
Enough
making,
detail.
what you are asking for quantitative measures. How?
That's the residents, I mean, you can educate all your life, but first thing residents are going to ask is, well, how much is this going to cost me? So it's not like putting the right rubbish in the right bin. This is costing them. Well, if we're going, I'm just looking at page 340.
You remember, councillors, the council provide detail on how Strathfield Council pathway to net zero will be achieved to be presented council.
Workshop.
Mhm.
Yeah, fantastic. Councillor Rennie, you happy with all the changes?
Yeah.
Yes, councillor Dana, yes? Any further councillors?
Yeah.
All right, I'll put it to you, councillors, all those in favour, Yeah,
You're not voting.
okay, sorry. Councillor Data, Councillor Reddy, Councillor Swan, Councillor Cho, Councillor Fitzmaurice, the Mayor, and against only Councillor.
We need to think.
I thought you were thinking.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
Okay, we'll do it after.
Okay, councillors.
Now you can, I will walk away. And you can vote.
We already voted.
We already finished.
Councillor, we already have
But
voted.
you abstained.
Let's move on to these members of Dr. page 371.
Yeah.
It's been voted. It's been voted on page 371. Do I have a move for the recommendation?
Yeah, I
Moved by Councillor Anthony, seconded by Councillor Reddy. Any amendments, councillors, will debate, sorry?
No, but I can't support this. I am a dog lover. Don't get me wrong.
Any debate, councillor?
Oh, I won't be the, I won't do the thing. No, it's, we're very good on where we're sitting now. I'd rather do park outside rainbow cake.
That's underway, councillor.
I know, but then just with things.
I'll let them go.
Falling out.
I let them go from the mayor thinking, they will have work with, any debate, councillors?
So what did you change it to?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Um,
It's regulated, Nancy. Works in that reserve.
They can still take their dogs in there.
Now, it's going to be return.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean, but if we don't move this, then.
Well, it's gonna go for a while now, so you can't.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
so let's just change the recommendation.
So what,
That the works be considered, in the 22, 23, 23, 24 or something.
Pleasure.
So,
so the worst, at this very reserve dog park, the
it's
considered in the 23-24
budget.
financial year budget.
And
What is the cost as well?
Okay.
Here, here.
$15,000.
$15,000.
So we consider
Okay,
that.
that's a very good, you're happy with that, councillor Penson?
Yes, I'll go with that.
You're happy with that, councillor
Yeah.
Reddy? Any further debate, councillors? No? Put those in. Oh, yes, sorry, councillor.
So, Mr. Mayor, and I apologise, but in terms of the overall cost of the work, which is $15,000. Is it possible that we receive some further detail about how council's actually broken down that expenditure? Because if you were just about
Bit,
We did a workshop on
yeah.
how,
Peter Bowman last time.
also I
It's all the sort of brass and.
apologise.
Okay, now put to you, councillors, all over the paper, straight. Voting unanimous, thank you, councillor. E05, Homewood West Community Centre license for next commission, page 405. Moved by councillor Spencer Bean, seconded by, the mayor. I put an amendment on that, councillors. But so my amendment, I just think this centre has been locked up away from the community for far too long. It should be available to the community. We have a large commercial property, then that has been sitting there vacant for almost 1 year. And I think that we should get some the commercial return out of it. And it is located in similar proximity to Coastal Station. It has disability access. It has 10 parking spots included in the building. It's close to shopping for the workers of the Electoral Commission. So the council, the recommendation we changed, the council offered the New South Wales Electoral Commission the large commercial property facing the present at 2935 Burlington Road, Homebush, between 20 the same date, 23rd January and 5th of May, to conduct the New South Wales State Government election. That any requirement of the facility ready by this state be prioritised as the facility has already been vacant since it was handed to council at the start of the year.
I'm fine with that recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
How much weight?
No,
It's actually, the address is Burlington Road. It's the one on the present.
it's not Hamish West.
We're talking about the studio space
Homebush West Community Centre is the one on Hampstead Road where we had the last.
front of it.
That's right.
This one, we're changing it to,
We're saying if they want office spaces, that they can put it there and not take up our community facility.
Mr. Mayor, shouldn't we deal with this in camera? Shouldn't we deal with this in camera?
In camera.
without camera.
No, shouldn't, was it in camera?
Off camera.
No, the Lennon reference.
Closed, short session.
Closed
It's
session.
a closed session.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is it? one
So-
second.
The recommendation here is to use the Homebush West Community Centre in Hampstead Road. What the mayor and I are saying is, let's give it a change, because this centre has been closed up nearly a year now from the state, from the local elections and from the federal
Local,
elections.
federal, state by election,
So if
reasons for not being.
We have a lot of
available
community
to
groups.
certification.
we have a lot of community groups that want to use this centre. We have an empty space in Homebush on
There
the
is,
Crescent.
there is a couple of issues with the property, we've obtained advice, and things like that, but it has been sitting there for nearly a year, councillor, sorry,
But
and we really want to push on that.
I appreciate all that. It just strikes me that it's a commercial negotiation between the council and external entity, and therefore we normally dealt with.
Yeah,
There's no
Closed
such
session.
restriction.
not licensing.
So this Homebush, it's not Homebush West, it's Homebush Community Centre. Can you change that, please, Mr.
I would make a recommendation to license to New South Wales Electric Commission.
Almost.
We can only offer it to them, this other option, and then, it's up to them to come back to council and phase. We'll do what the decisions.
No, not the one at Hampstead Road. The one on the Crescent is Homebush.
Also, it doesn't have any council.
I know, but we'll change it so we know what we're talking about.
I think we just say, they're clearly identified as.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
the
the
Lincoln Road itself says
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then obviously as per, the recommend the resolution as per, delegations, it will come back to council because it's a property decision. So, we can look at it, if they make a decision, yes or no, whatever, we come back with an alternate plan.
So is that enough for the electoral commission information?
It's huge.
We're hoping so,
And it's a good place for pre-polling as well.
and they will be using the town hall for 2 weeks for pre-polls.
One. Oh, no, two. No, they're in there for one, and then there's pre-poll for one.
Okay, so that's the recommendation, councillors. You're also going the, it's open in the front larger room, isn't it?
Yeah.
So any further debate, councillors? No, opportunity, councillors? Unanimous. Okay, 406, Stratton Centre. Moved by. Moved by councillor Ero 6, Stratton Centre, moved by councillor Reddy. Seconded by. Councillor Delacour. Yep, any debate, councillors, about this?
Amendment, Mr. Mayor.
I do have some knowledge, some red, put it, councillors. So I'll just make an amendment there, councillors. That council does not support the potential sole tenancy of Dutton Centre. That's one point. The next point. Council advertises POIs for the licensing of the Dutton Centre office spaces. With the community room slash space slash hall, really all being available for casual hire. That's my recommendation, councillors. I don't think that we should be locking up a community building to one person. I think that it is more appropriate that we, have the hall, and I think this has been expressed by councillors already on a number of occasions. And I think it's good that we've got it here in the recommendation to make it transparent. And I think having that community area available for casual hire is the appropriate thing to do.
I think it would communicate with many users of this.
But it's another one that is sitting there underutilized and empty. And I would like the council to support me on this. Any further debate, councillors? Good. Yep. Okay, I'll put it to you, councillors. All those in favour? Ben, councillor Chai, sorry. Councillor
Ben,
Chai.
Devon Center.
No, I got a question here.
Yes, councillor Chai.
Right.
Yeah.
For the chair, for the garden center.
Yes.
Are we gonna, separately lease to the individual office?
What we're saying, councillor, we're not supporting one person renting the whole building.
Yeah.
What we're saying is the office areas that we're happy to put an expression of interest for someone to rent one or two or who knows how many office spaces. But the community hall, room or whatever space, what they want to call it,
Okay.
is available for the casual hire.
Okay.
Yeah.
No question.
Well, I think, yeah. So,
Vote again.
we've got any good recommendation, councillors? Good? Yes, sir. Good recommendation, councillors, thank you. Okay, let's get our proper. Okay, and, point six, councillors, please.
We go to closed session in that, after it's in.
Point 16, matters of urgency for 24, so 2.1 of government general regulation for five, certainty nil. And we'll move in, we have an item to the closed session. So I move,
Hang on. I do have a point of order. I'm happy to do it after we finish everything, but, I would actually like to go back to the P4, where I said I needed some time, and I wasn't given any time, and I was pretty much bullied into making a decision, whereas.
we're voting, I'll vote.
And I said, and I was- And councillor Chai was just given more time, so I think it's only fair. And I use the word very lightly, so I use it very, very lightly.
Councillor,
But
you had-
no, councillor Chai was given more time, and I was the one that made the amendment. And I wanted to consider, he was given more time before, he should have been given more time, it was right for him to have more time. The same courtesy should be made, so after we finish, I'm happy to do it after we.
Okay, let's look after that closed session. I move that according to section 10A2A of the local government act 1993, following up in closed session for reasons stated. And it's a recruitment of senior staff and it's a confidential matter. That's it.
He's part of the.
So we'll move into the closed session. I mean,